Next, we are going to see introduction to digital computer architecture of. First, we are going to see architecture of 8085 microprocessor, which is the basic microprocessor. So this is the architecture, hardware architecture of 8085 diagram. So in that you will be having control unit. So control unit is used to generate signal with the microprocessor to carry out all the instruction which can be decoded. In reality, certain connection between blocks of the microprocessor will be opened or closed so that ALU operation will be occurred. So ALU, that is arithmetic logic unit. Here the ALU performs actual numerical and logical operations such as uh, additional, subtraction, and or, etc., which will uses data from memory as well as from accumulator to perform arithmetic and logical operation. It always stores the result in the accumulator. Then next we are going to see register. So 8085 programming model will include 6 register. One is accumulator and another one is flag register, which is shown in the diagram. In addition to that, it has two 16-bit register. One is stack pointer and another one is program counter. So in 8085, which has 6 general purpose register to store 8-bit data. These are identified by the B, C, D, E and H, L as shown in the figure. They can be combined as register pair, that is B, C, D, E and H, L, to perform as a 16-bit register. Next, accumulator. So the accumulator is an 8-bit register, that is a part of arithmetic and logic unit. This register is used to store 8-bit data and also to perform arithmetic and logical operation. So the result of all the operation will be stored in the accumulator. It can be also called as register A. Then next, flag. Flag is also a register. Here in ALU includes 5 flip-flop which will be set or reset after an operation according to the data of the result in the accumulator and other register. The 5 flip-flops are 0, carry, sign, parity, auxiliary carry, flag. So the most commonly used flag are 0, carry and sign. So the microprocessor will use all those flags to test data condition. For example, after an addition of two numbers, if the sum in the accumulator is larger than 8-bit, the flip-flop uses to indicate a carry, which is called the carry flag, which will be set to 1. When an arithmetic operation result in 0, then the flip-flop called the 0 flag, which will set to 1. So figure shows an 8-bit register called the flag register, which is adjacent to the accumulator. However, it is not used as a register, but it will be used as a 5-bit position to store the outputs of 5 flip-flop. So the flag are stored in the 8-bit register so that the programmer can examine these flag by accessing the register through an instruction. These flags have critical importance in the decision-making process of the microprocessor. So the condition set and reset of the flag are tested through the software instruction. For example, the instruction jump on carry, that is JC, is implemented to change the sequence of a program when carry flag is set. So next we are going to see program counter. This is important register, 16-bit register, which will deal with the execution of instruction sequentially. So this register is a memory pointer. So memory locations have 16-bit address, and that's why it's a 16-bit register. So the microprocessor uses this register to sequence the execution of the instruction. So the function of the program counter will be pointer to memory address from which the next byte will be fetched. When a byte is being fetched, the program counter automatically increment by 1 to the next memory location. The next we are going to see stack pointer. So stack pointer is also a 16-bit register which is used as a memory pointer. So it points to a memory location in read or write memory called the stack memory. So the beginning of the stack is defined by loading 16-bit address in the stack pointer. Next, instruction register or decoder. So which is used to store the program in this register. The next, control generator. So control generator will generate signal with the microprocessor to carry out the instruction which has been decoded. In reality causes certain connection between blocks of the microprocessor to be opened or closed so that data goes where it is required and so that ALU operation occur. Then register selector. This block controls the use of the register stack in the example. Just a logic circuit which switches between different register in the set will receive instruction from the control unit. Next, we are going to see the 8085 system bus. So in the system bus, you will be having two types. One is address bus and another one is data bus. So address bus, one wire for each bit. So in that manner, 16 bit will be having 16 wire. So binary number carried alerts memory to open the designated box. So its width is 16 bit. A 16-bit binary number allows to 16 different number or 32,000 different number because memory consists of boxes each with a unique address. The size of the address bus determine the size of memory which can be used. So to communicate with the memory, the microprocessor sends an address of the on the address bus. So the memory select the box number 3 for reading or writing data. Address bus is unidirectional. Numbers only sent from microprocessor to memory, not other way. So next, data bus. Data bus will carry data in binary form between microprocessor and other external units such as memory. Typical size is 8 or 16 bit. Size determined by size of boxes in memory, and microprocessor size helps determine performance of microprocessor. The data bus typically consists of 8 wire, therefore 28 combination of binary digits are used. Uh, Data bus is normally used to transmit data or information, results of arithmetic etc. between memory and microprocessor. So here bus is bidirectional. Size of the data bus determines what arithmetic can be done. If only 8 bit wide, then largest number will be 255 in decimal. Therefore, larger number had to be broken down into chunks of 255. This slows microprocessor. So data bus also carries instruction from memory to the microprocessor. So size of the bus therefore limits the number of possible instructions to 256. Then control bus, which will control this, carries the control signal partly unidirectional and also partly bidirectional. Control signals are things like read or write. The next we are going to instruction set. So instruction set are classified into 5 types, that is data transfer, arithmetic, logical, branching and message control. An instruction is a binary pattern designed inside a microprocessor to perform a specific function. So first we are going to see data transfer operation. So data transfer is used for transferring data between the memories. For example, move A comma B. So it will move a B register data to the A register. Next, arithmetic operation. So under this, you will be having uh, arithmetic operations such as addition, subtraction, increment, and decrement. Then logical operation. So under the logical operation, you will be performing and or exclusive or rotate, complement, branching operation, jump, call, return, and restart. These are the instructions available under the logical operation. Next, we are going to see addressing modes of 8085, which is classified into 5 types. That is direct addressing mode, register indirect addressing mode, immediate addressing mode, and implied addressing mode. So the instruction which directly address is said to be direct addressing mode. Example LDA 2000 H. Then register addressing mode. So this will be registered addressed through the register. For example, move A comma B. So A and B will address the instruction. And then register indirect addressing mode. Here the instruction specifies a register pair which will contain the memory address where the data will be located. For example, move A comma A. Here accumulator data value is moved to the memory address, the where the memory address is pointed by HL register pair. Then next, immediate addressing mode. So immediate available data is moved to the or load to the given register. For example, MVIA comma 28. So 28 immediate data is moved to the accumulator. Then next, implied addressing mode. For example, CMA complement accumulator means it will complement the value. So the address itself saved in the stored in the instruction, that will be called as a implied addressing mode. Next, we are going to see multiplexer. So multiplexer is nothing but a basic electronic component which is used for switching and high speed switching and relay purpose. Here many into one, many inputs will give single output is said to be multiplexer. Here we are going to use 4 to 1 multiplexer. That means 4 input, only one output is taken from the circuit. So these are the logic diagram for the multiplexer. So the application of multiplexer or communication system, computer memory, telephone network, transmission from the computer system of a satellite. Then demultiplexer. Demultiplexer is opposite to your multiplexer. So one our input, many outputs. So logic diagram of demultiplexer is given here. So based on the selector lens, your output will be given. So next we are going to see memory types. So memory is nothing but which is a storage device. Memory can be classified into primary or main memory and then secondary memory. So under the primary memory you will have RAM and ROM, that is random access memory and read only memory. So under the secondary memory you will be having serial access memory and serial semi-random access memory, that is floppy disk, hard disk, etc. will come under that. So first we are going to see primary memory. The primary memory commonly used in computer, that is magnetic core memory and semiconductor memory. So magnetic core memory is made up of small magnetic cores with wire running through them. Depending on the direction of the electric current flows through the wire, electricity magnetizes the core in different direction. So the direction of the magnetization indicates certain data representation of the CPU. Since the form of memory is bulky, it has given way to newer technologies such as semiconductor memory. So semiconductor memory is nothing but which is used in modern computer to which are made up of semiconductor element in the primary storage unit. So this type of memory is made up of by etching electronic circuit on a silicon chip. In all computers, semiconductors are used for primary memory storage, which is divided into two portions, that is read-only memory and random access memory. So read-only memory is permanently inbuilt in the computer at the time of its production. A read-only memory is otherwise called firmware. It stores a set of instructions permanently which instruct the computer how to work. Next, RAM. RAM is random access memory. This is a part of computer's local memory where the computer stores all the data and instruction it receives from input and the result as it works through the calculation. So RAM is a short-term memory or volatile memory, that is when the computer is switched off, all the information will disappear, whereas ROM is permanent memory. The random access memory will require little time for access to each data and it is considered to be fastest memory. So the difference between read-only memory and random access memory are given here. Other primary memories in computer are programmable read-only memory. So here the user may write the desired program into it only by once. The contents will never be changed here. Then next, EEPROM. EEPROM is nothing but erasable programmable read-only memory. So nobody writes a correct working program in one shot. So every program needs to be written, tested, rewritten for a number of times before it works satisfactorily. And if we were to use a PROM to store and test every intermediate version, we would be wasting a large number of PROMs. This led to the concept of erasable programmable read-only memory. Simply, the ultraviolet light on an EEPROM for a few minutes and contents of EEPROM will be erased. This is most commonly used today. Then EEPROMs. So instead of ROM, many devices now incorporate EEPROM, that is electrically erasable PROM, uh, which can be easily reprogrammed by the application by a small voltage. Such controllers are very useful in prolonging the use of machine tool. The device can be sensed wear and automatically compensate by programming its EEPROM, so that frequent adjustment of the machine are not required. The next we are going to see secondary memories. Secondary memories are used when the computer is switched off. Anything stored in the RAM will be lost. So to avoid this situation, we are going for magnetic disk, which are used to store data permanently. Uh, so the measurement of storage capacities are given here. So first type of secondary memory is floppy disk. I think you all be seen floppy disk, which is a piece of plastic that we put into a computer for storing information. Then hard disk. Hard disk also a permanent storage device which will store a lot of information in megabytes and gigabytes. It can be partitioned into different types, that is C, D, E, etc. Then CD-ROM, that is compact disk read-only memory, which is commonly used as secondary storage device. So the main advantage of CD is which can store large volume of data, that is 700 MB to 1.4 GB range we can handle. So it is made up of small plastic disc coated with aluminum or silver for magnetization. And then magnetic tape. So magnetic tape is the oldest form of storage device, but it is popular storage medium for storing large quantum of sequential data. So it is also used as a backup storage for data stored on an online storage device. So magnetic tape medium is a plastic ribbon, usually half inch or a quarter inch wide, or 50 to 2400 feet long, which will be coated with magnetizable recording material, which will use chromium dioxide and iron dioxide. The next, cache memory. So yeah, small memory between CPU and memory device is called cache memory. So the access time will be very closer to the processing speed of the CPU. The cache memory acts as a high-speed buffer between CPU and main memory, which will be used temporarily to save the data and instruction during processing. So cache memory is very faster than main memory. The processing speed is increased by making data and instruction needed in the presenting processing available in the cache memory. So virtual memory is a process cannot be loaded in a system whose memory size will be very less than the total memory required by the processor. So in this case, a process cannot be loaded and has to be keep waiting for its execution to start until sufficient free memory for loading the entire process become available. This may delay a process turnaround time to a great extent, so that we go for virtual memory, which is a memory management scheme that overcomes all the limitations by allowing the execution of processor that might not be completely loaded in the main memory. That is, it does not require the entire process to be in memory before the process can execute. So comparative characteristics of all primary memory and secondary memory are given in the parameters: average capacity, technology, average time, access, and then computer system purpose, relative cost per byte in units are given here. That's all. Thank you.